Hey guys. Oh,
Okay.
hey. Right.
I don't see anyone's face yet.
What?
Oh, there's another face.
Hi, Lacey.
Hi.
How you feeling?
Great, actually.
Good.
Feeling baby move a lot.
That's so
How
fun.
many weeks are you?
What's that?
How many weeks are you now?
20, exactly halfway.
Oh,
Awesome. That's
are you
exciting.
finding out the sex of the baby?
No, I do my anatomy scan on Monday, but I'm not going to find out.
That's exciting. I didn't find out with my first either. It was like killing me though, in that 20-week ultrasound to not find out. But my husband was really the one that wanted it to be a surprise. And so, yeah, we held strong. I found out with my girl.
I remember that. I remember when you rated. I found out with all my first three, but not my fourth. Because I knew she, or whatever it was my last. And I was like, okay, I'm going to try this way. And it was fun.
Yeah.
It was really fun. I had a strong feeling it was a girl though. Okay. So hi everybody. Thank you for, hey Karen, hey Emily, for joining us. I am super excited about 2018. There's just something about a new year that just gives people a sense of a fresh start, new goals. I know that corporate is working very, very hard to ensure that, all the bugs and the kinks are worked out with our new back office. It's something that's going to be amazing. And I do have the privilege of seeing all the hard work on some of the Jewel pages. So just know how much they're fighting for you. The advisory board is constantly in action, trying to, make sure our voice is heard. And one of the things that, I don't know if it was a message I sent to you guys today, but Sheila Medina did the 12 days or the Diamonds in December. And she was just talking about belief. And one of the things that kind of I thought about was there's never been one time where I didn't believe that our company would fix something that didn't go correctly, whether it be a promo or whatever. They always make things right. And I've never doubted that for a second. So just know that we're in the right place at the right time. And I only see super good things moving forward, and that they have our back. I wanted to get us together tonight to really just talk about our goals for 2018 as a team, but individually. Anybody who has any stumbling blocks, I would encourage you to share your goals tonight. Jessica is going to go over a goal training that she learned about and is going to kind of give us some new tips. And I think that's going to be great. And then she's going to post her notes to our team page. I'm going to go over the idea of accountability calls from a method that is from Bob Heilig. I watched a training from Emily Gibson and Brooke Hemingway, and these have been amazing for their teams, and a lot of other jewels have implemented these from their teams and have found them to be super beneficial. Although they're not for everybody on the team, they can be very beneficial for people who want to move forward with their business and are highly committed. The other thing that we had on tap tonight to talk about was our new onboarding and duplication system, and I need to save that for another Zoom because it's just too much content to get through. I will put that at a later date. So what I want to talk about first is the accountability Zooms, and then we'll go from there. So what they're doing, and I find it to be awesome, is they're finding a time that works for them and, 3 to 4 of their top people in the organization. These folks with bigger teams are breaking them up into like silver and gold, or, senior gold and ruby, like things like that. But most people at our level, we don't really need to do that. But basically, these are the people that you personally invite to be on these accountability Zooms weekly via a phone conversation. So you call these people. Let's say you have like 2 people in your organization that are ready, or you think that they're ready to be fully committed to this. So basically you call them up, you talk to them about the idea of getting on an opportunity or an accountability call each week, and you ask them 2 questions. And I'm going to put the training that what I'm talking about is from, so you guys can watch it. It's only 18 minutes long, but it just will give you a lot more detail, so that if I miss anything in the short time that we have tonight, you can catch it there. But anyway, so you call these people and you ask them 2 questions. The first question is, are you dead serious about wanting to run a successful business? Okay, seems simple, right? The next question you ask them, if they say yes, is, are you sure? Okay. If they say yes again, that's 2 definitive yeses. And you know that they are probably a good candidate to include in these accountability calls. Now, we are not trying to shame anybody or make people feel bad if they don't want to be a part of these calls, right? Because they're not for everybody. But I think that they can really help a lot of the people in our business who really want this, but maybe aren't seeing the movement they would like. I can raise my hand for that. I need these, and I'm super excited about doing them with a couple people. So basically, they need 2 definitive yeses, and their actions have to match their words. We've talked about this a lot, the whole, feet, watching their feet, not their mouths sort of thing, because all of us want it, right? But all of us aren't doing what it takes to achieve it. And that's where the contradiction sometimes comes into play. So during these accountability sessions, I mean, they can last for, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 months. You're allowed to miss twice. Okay. And again, this is not a, shaming thing, but these rules are in place to show people, including whoever's leading these calls, right, that this is how you run a successful business. You have to show up. You have to be involved. But we do understand that things come up. People get sick. We get it. And again, we're not forcing anybody to be our participant in these calls. In fact, the majority of people on our teams probably won't be good candidates for this. Okay. So group is about 4 to 5 people. If you don't meet the requirements in the group, we ask, and this is even on Bob Heilig's invitation, that you leave the group with grace, that we basically hold the integrity of the group as something that is, of high value. We're trying to lift each other up, really be concrete. These calls are no longer than 30 minutes. There's a structure. There's one of the forms that I have on our team page. I put the PDF on there. It's pretty close to what Brooks and Emily's looks like, but I'm going to get Brooks and Emily's as well. But basically, during the calls, you work through some of these different categories, and it has everything from like, who did you mentor this week? What were your goals? What was your monthly BHAG, your current PV, new level 1s, positive affirmations? These are done on a weekly basis. So these sheets are filled out on a weekly basis, and you send them to the leader by like noon that day. That's what they were doing on their accountability calls or Zooms. And I don't want that to feel like it's like homework, but again, it's accountability. And the leader, whoever the leader is of these groups, at the beginning, it'll probably be me, but you have to, this is supposed to be duplicated down, right? So the idea is to have Catherine be working with her, top 2 people, and Lacey be working with hers. And you know what I mean? Eventually, it's not for me to run these all the time. But the leader is also doing this, right? I'm not sitting out. So every week I would do the same thing. So I think it can be really, really great for the people that it works for. Does that make sense? I don't want people to think that these are mandatory, but I do feel that they could drastically change the course of our businesses if used well, and if we hold each other accountable. You know what I mean? I think it's important that we do that because we all have goals and we've voiced them to each other. We've shared those goals with each other before. And I think we owe it to each other to hold ourselves accountable, and help us, bring those goals to fruition. So, this is also, like I said, a way that you can train your team too, to be able to run a successful business. Again, this is for your go-getters. Questions about the accountability calls. Again, I'll put the link to the training with more detail, so that you guys can go back and watch it, and, sit by your phones until you get a call from me. Just kidding. Go ahead.
So, do you have any thoughts about if the ideal number is 4 or 5 people on a call,
Yeah.
but let's say, on my team, if I don't have 4 or 5 people who are wanting to do that, would you say merge with another 2 or 3 people, or do you?
Yeah. So I think initially it's going to be me leading the call with some of you, right? And as your teams grow and you find people that want the business aspect of it and are engaged. And one of the things Emily said, who I don't know too much about her, but she's really cool, was that the top 3 people on her team change weekly. Because 1 week, this girl will be super engaged, and then the next week she'll be like, where'd she go? You know what I mean? Because that's life. Right? So you don't have to, in the beginning, again, I will be leading these accountability calls with people that I invite. And the point is for them to duplicate it down into their organizations once their teams grow because of these accountability calls. Okay. If you feel like, Jessica might be in the position where she can do these on her own with, 3 or 4 people. Not everybody might be in that position. It just depends on your team. Does that help? Okay, cool. Any other questions about those calls? Okay. Goals. Before Jessica's going to talk about a different way to goal set. But does anybody want to share some of their goals that they've been thinking about, or obstacles they've recently faced that they want to process at all? I wanted to kind of have a little time to talk about that, or to at least give you guys the opportunity to share.
I can share some general stuff just
Okay.
to get conversation going. So I feel like I have been a little stuck with my funnel lately, and I'm sure that some of it is, or much of it is, related to the amount of energy, just, life-wise and time-wise, that I've been able to put into gathering new people for my funnel. But I feel like that really is where my effort and energy needs to lie, in terms of just consistently building new networking stuff. I feel like everything feels really stale right now. And I've got my same customers that are ordering and my same ambassadors that are ordering, but I just feel stalled and stuck with new stuff in my funnel. So I've been trying to be, in my Facebook groups, I have no problem being active, but I feel like personally, in person, in real life, at Target, at, the fire department holiday party that we were just at, that's where I feel like I need to get in person more, out of my own little bubble of communication, and, purposeful, intentional communication about having people join me in this amazing thing that I'm doing. I just feel stale with it.
Yeah. Or even just purposeful relationship building. And
Right.
That's actually on the accountability sheet, because it's so important, and something that is definitely a goal of mine as well, just to kind of re-put myself in new situations. It's
Right.
so easy to get caught up in our daily, I'm a total creature of structure and habit, but that doesn't really give us many opportunities to meet new people and to create those friendships and network, you know what I mean? Cause I can relate to where you're at with just feeling like, and I don't have anybody new coming into my funnel, but that is solely based on my activity, your activity. And so we can change that by intentionally networking, intentionally relationship building, putting ourselves in new situations, new groups, new meetups, activities that you're interested in. But that takes, like you were saying, energy, and that takes the desire to do that. And so that is definitely part of the accountability plan, intentional prospecting, intentional relationship building, things like that. So yeah.
And I think that when like the stress level is when I feel a higher stress level with life in general, I retreat to like my comfort zone, which is not new networking and new meeting. And then I can feel it in my business a few weeks or a few months later,
Yep.
you know?
Yep. Yeah. It's cyclic. It's just like weight loss and everything else, right? You're not active, so then you become a little bit more down about your business. So then you're less active, and you have to. The only thing that can tip that scale, because I've been here before, you've been there before, is action, to get you more excited to meet new people. And who knows if these people that you meet are going to join you, but it just feels good to have new people, you know what I mean, in your life to talk to about what you're doing and inspire and see what you're doing. So it takes that initial step by us to kind of get out of our comfort zones and initiate some networking and action. But Catherine, I think that your goal probably, I think everybody on this call can relate to that. And I think that's kind of where a lot of us are, is just trying to put that foot in front of the other, you know what I mean? Make that step, get that momentum started. And that's why I feel these accountability calls will help us to do that, to take that action, because that's the only thing that squashes fear. And it's the only thing that squashes feeling stale. So anybody else want to share before Jess takes the floor?
I will. I kind of fell way back at the end of 2017, kind of halfway through. And that was just in part to my full-time job. So my biggest goal, and I'm kind of the opposite with Catherine, I'm networking constantly with traveling so much for work and, going here and going there and being all over the place. But I need to work on putting that into something else and my follow-up, and what I do with those people that I'm interacting with all over the country and, all the different places that I go, and seeing how I can put that into my business. So that's one of my big goals, excuse me, for the new year, is to re-engage myself and, really try to follow through a little bit more on all of those people that I've been reaching out to.
Yeah. And so it does sound like the complete opposite. And so what I'm hearing you say, at least, is your goal is to be more intentional with your network, and sharing the gift that we have, whether it be the products, the opportunity, both, whatever might fit that person. And so a way to do that, again, is going to be to look at resources for how to share, organically and authentically with folks. Good questions to ask people to get those conversations started, posting intentionally, drinking your pink drink in front of people to spark conversations, things like that. But also, just portraying that confidence and that having that belief in what you're doing. And I think that a lot of times we get stuck up in like, what are we going to say, instead of just sharing what's happening, our personal stories, and bringing our sponsors or whoever your active upline is, three-way calls. You know what I mean? And just making it fun again. I think that's like my thing for the new year is, let's make this fun again instead of a chore. You know what I mean? I think that's something that's super important, because nobody wants to join somebody who's stressed out and, crazy.
Yeah.
So, okay. Awesome, Jamie. I have no doubt that you can tackle that, and I'm here to help. Okay, Jessica, you go, girl.
All right. Hey, ladies, what's up? So, kind of the reason that I'm going to tackle goal setting is because going into this new year, one of my biggest goals, I guess, would be to have stronger goals myself, to better understand my goals and the reason for doing Plexus, and to be more intentional with my everyday, because I feel like for myself, that's one of the biggest things holding me back from moving faster up in this business. Goal setting and being intentional and being a planner is not my strong suit. So it's something that I'm really working hard on this year, and I've already started. So I've watched some videos that I wanted to share some information. I'm gonna talk off notes because I took so many notes, and this is definitely an exercise that you can take, in your own time over the next few days. Take an hour, take 2 hours, and work through all this. Don't worry about taking notes because I'm literally gonna fly through this, and I have it all in a Google Doc form. So I'll just put it as like a PDF on Kate's team page so that you guys can all work through this on your own time. So there's 2 different trainings that I did. Bob Heilig, many of you know, he's my boo. I am in his Legacy Leadership Academy group, and I really do love his content in there. So this was just one of his short videos. He had joined a mastermind high-level coaching program. He said this is a very powerful, impactful exercise that they did, and it's about setting power, not just like your surface level goals, not just income goals, but really powerful goals that are going to drive you throughout the year. He wants to help us make 2018 our breakthrough year. And it doesn't, when we talk about breakthrough, it doesn't even need to mean necessarily a business or a money breakthrough. A breakthrough is when you create, accomplish, or experience something that you previously thought was not possible for yourself. And like he said, it doesn't have to be income related. He said, when you're setting your goals, remember this line: I don't want you to operate from your current circumstances, but create your goals from possibilities. Don't limit your goal setting and thinking because of your current circumstances. So here's the quick exercise he wanted you to sit down and do. He said, imagine that you're sitting here a year from now, reviewing how your year went, and answer these 4 questions. He said you want to set more than just income goals. You want to set like income, impact, and personal goals, different areas of your life goals. You want to be specific, and you want your goals to be big enough to be excited, but yet realistic. So when you answer these 4 questions, think about your different type of goals. And the 4 questions are, the first one, what did I do, create, experience, or accomplish in 2018 in order to declare this a breakthrough year? The second question is, having accomplished all of this, what did I do differently in 2018? The third question is, what did I have to let go of? And the fourth question is, who was I being that created this? And he said, these aren't easy answers. You really have to sit down and think about it. And the reason it's hard is because you're really digging into the feelings and emotions that drive our actions and the way we show up. So those were some of the things he noted. I didn't list here everything because this second training was a little bit longer, but what he's saying definitely ties into what this Michelle Barnes is saying. His 4 questions are just a slightly different way of looking at it. So instead of looking forward, pretend you're already at the end of this year looking back and answer those 4 questions, and that will help lead you to more powerful goals. So the second is Michelle Barnes. Has everyone ever heard of her? Because this was the first time. She is another big-wig professional marketer, speaker, entrepreneur, and she's a strategic coach. I actually, on the Google Doc here, I did include the link to her training. It's actually a SoundCloud, but it's like 59 minutes long. So I definitely took notes from this, so don't feel like you have to watch it. So the notes I took from hers was, she's all about helping with goal getting, not just setting. Set them to get them. And so there's a lot of questions here that she asks, again, thought-provoking questions. So what do you really, really, really want? What do you really want your life to look like? If time and money weren't an issue, what would your life really look like? It's so important to build an image in your mind of every single thing you want in every aspect of life. She says, just dream again. She shares a quote from Robert Hyland, and it says, in the absence of clearly defined goals, we become strangely loyal to performing daily trivia. until ultimately we become enslaved by it. Says everything is a choice. You can start right now to create the life you have always wanted. And this is from the Think and Grow Rich book, which I know I've read a long time ago. Has anyone read that book by Napoleon Hill, I believe? Is that you raising your hand? No, okay. So yes, Kate. So Think and Grow Rich, it's by Napoleon Hill. She references this book like 20 times in her sound recording. I know I have this book sitting on my desk shelf, so I might dig into that again. But a quote from there says, whatever, and I'm sure you guys have heard this before, whatever the mind can conceive and believe can achieve. So why are goals important? When you're writing them down, you're literally creating the future in advance. And when it's done properly and specifically, it can absolutely transform your life. She told a really cool story about the power of goals. There was a study done or survey done with the Yale class, the graduation class 1953 of Yale. I didn't say that right. Yale class of 1953 graduation class. And the study, so at their graduation class, they asked each student, how many of you have a clear plan for your achievement? And less than 3% of the graduating class actually had any clear written goals written down. So then this study measures, tracks them, but 20 years later interviewed these same students. The 3% that had written their goals down were happier, more well-adjusted, and excited about their life. So that's something. But then there was a more measurable result. The 3% were worth more in financial terms than the entire 97% combined. I thought that was a really interesting story. So, clearly just one example of the power of goals. So she says, so now she's going to take us kind of through this exercise. And she says, operate from a certain principle of absolute total faith and belief. If you find goals that are exciting enough, it will happen. And she said, so what the goal here is with her exercise is that we're going to create 9 solid goals in 3 different areas. And it's going to cover personal, financial, social, emotional, spiritual, physical. She says, your soul knows the geography of your destination. If you limit your feature based on your past, you will never get anywhere. You can't let your present results control the mind. So that kind of goes along with what Bob said. Don't let your current circumstance, don't be thinking about your current circumstances when you're thinking about your goals. Dream big. She said, write down goals that are exciting and big enough to drive you. The purpose of having your goals is what they will make of you as a person. What will mean the most to you when your life is over? What do you want people to say about you? What impact do you want to have? Don't just focus on the things and stuff that you want. And so another really important thing she says, when you're setting a goal, you absolutely have to look at why you are doing it. I think this, for a lot of people, we struggle with our why, or having a big enough why to drive us to do this every day, to not let things like December and holidays get in your way. I know I struggle with that. She said, the problem with goal setting is people don't usually take it seriously or do it consistently. If you get a big enough reason to accomplish something, you will find a way to make it happen. So she said, use these goals as a way to pressure yourself so you don't back out. Attach pleasure to reaching the goal and pain to not reaching the goal. So ask yourself, what would it cost you if it didn't happen? Set goals, get strong enough whys to create the pressure, and then make them so real in your mind that it feels as if you already have it. And she says, so here, there's 3 types of goals she wants us to focus on. The first is personal development goals. Who are you becoming? The second is materials and things goals. And the third one is economic goals. So the exercise here is to go through those 3 different types of goals. So the first one, if you're looking at personal development goals, she said, I want you to think totally outrageous, think anywhere from 1 year to 20 years out, and do a total brain dump on paper. She gives us some sample questions here. I'll just fly through for personal development goals. What would you like to become? Where would you like to go? What would you like to create in your life? What kind of skills do you want to have? Character traits. What do you want to master? What are fears you want to conquer? What are some things you would like to learn? Who would you like to meet? What are your career goals? What would you like to accomplish? What situation can you put yourself to allow you to grow? What are some of your spiritual goals? How do you want to treat yourself? What do you need to do on a daily basis to feel good? How many books would you like to read a year? What would you like to give in your life? What would you like to be known for? What do you want people to say at your eulogy? Who do you want to surround yourself with? Who do you want to experience life with? And what do you want your health to look like? So those are just some examples as you're doing your brain dump on paper, looking through those. And then she says, once you've done that, go through each goal that you've written down and write a timeline. So she wants you to write, goals are dreams with a deadline. So she wants you to write a 1, 3, 5, or 20 next to it, meaning you're going to accomplish this in 1 or less years, 3 or less years, 5 or less years, and so on. And then she wants you to go through and select your top 3 personal development goals that you're absolutely committed to achieving in the next year, and circle them. Write a paragraph next to it as to why you are absolutely committed to achieving just one. She wants you to get index cards. And then she says, when you've chosen those 3 goals and why, you actually are going to write it in like this. And this kind of goes along to, what was that book we read? Melissa, it says, I am so happy and grateful now that, so you're basically writing it in present tense like it already happened. Affirmations is I think what I'm thinking of, that one book. Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. So she says, do this exercise. What is it?
What to say when you talk to yourself?
Thank you. So when you're writing on these index cards, once you've narrowed them down, you're going to write it like that, like it's already happened. And then you're going to do the same thing for the materials and things goal, and as well as the economic goal, so that in the end, after you've done this process, you should have 9 index cards total, which has your 2018 goals in those 3 areas. So for materials and things goals, some thoughts there. She said, just think in total abundance and let yourself go absolutely nuts. Remember, money is not an issue when you're thinking about these. Think of what you want, where you want it, what it looks like. What do you want to do? What are some places you want to go to? Think about where and how you want to live. What things are most important to you? What would make life more fun? And then you're going to go through that same process that I just highlighted for the personal development goals. And then economic goals, those are pretty self-explanatory. What are your ultimate financial goals per month? What do you want your net worth to be? What are your business goals? How much do you want to give? And then again, once you've done your brain dump and you've chosen your, given the timeline and chosen your top 3, you're going to write it the same way. I am so happy and grateful now that. And then she just said, how would you feel in a year if you are actually looking back and doing this exercise for the next year, and you can actually say that you crushed all of your 2018 goals? She said a huge part of this is once you have those 9 index cards written out, to read them every single day. Have them in your office, wherever you're going to look at them, read them every single day. And then the last thing she says, next to your 9 goals, write down some sort of action that you're going to take in the next 24 hours. And she said it can be little, just write something, and it's just to get things moving. And the last thing she left with was, she says, faith and fear both require you believe in something you can't see. You choose. So I thought this was really interesting way of looking at goal setting. What are your guys' thoughts on it?
I like it. Thank you for sharing, Jess.
Yeah,
nice. I like the linear part of it, like kind of telling you what to do, to set a goal.
So she said she went through this again, like spent $5,000. This was 20 years ago, and she did this. Spent $5,000 on this training she couldn't afford, and it was all about this. And this is where she had gotten a lot of this information. And she said, truly, she's like, it changed her life. And she's like, if you do this, she's like, just do it. I don't know why it works. She's like, but this process works. Just do it. Just trust me and just do it. And I can honestly say for myself, I have never written goals like this. I mean, if I have anything, I've written goals like, I'm going to sign 3 new ambassadors this month, or I'm going to hit Ruby. You know what I mean? Like just kind of superficial goals where I feel like if I sit down this week and do this, I think it's going to give me that first step toward my big goal of just becoming more intentional and really understanding what's going to power me along. You know what I mean? Not let all of my other things get in the way all the time. So,
yeah. I think that one of the things that I love about it is just that it goes with the whole alignment of what we tell ourselves, like the book that we're talking about, is what can actually come to fruition if we create those grooves in our brain. We can actually retrain our brain. And that's the process she's taking you through, essentially, is doing that with these note cards and these, seeing these every single day. If you think it, you can, do it, sort of thing. And it's very powerful and very true. The other book that came up a ton at Jewel Training that I just started reading, I'm on like chapter 3, is The Secret Code of Success. And again, it kind of goes into a different way of looking at things that I have found very, very helpful. Not so much about goal setting, but more about the cost of success and why that holds people back, like what worries you about success, whether it's fears and things like that. But it's a great perspective, and something that's really kind of helping me kind of figure out some of the things that might be holding myself back. So I think both of these exercises, that, the goal exercise and really kind of looking at, some of the things in your subconscious that are holding you back. It might kind of sound foo-foo-y, but it's really true. It's all up here. It's all up here. It really
Megan,
is.
I just saw your question, Megan. I can't see, I see your picture, but so the Bob Heilig one, yes, was from his Legacy Leadership Group, and I can't share videos from there. It was a quick 18-minute video, but I honestly don't even, I could like record it, but it came down to those 4 questions. And like I said, I kind of put the notes in this doc, so I think you'll get enough out of it where you don't feel like you need to watch that video. But I did include the SoundCloud link to that Michelle Barnes. Hers was like 59 minutes though. So, read through the notes and work through it. I don't know that you need to really listen to that either, but it's there if you want it. I included the link. So I hope that answered that.
Yes. Awesome. Okay. So, when I post this Zoom, I will put the link to the Emily Gibson and Brooke Hemingway accountability call Zoom that they did. So you guys all know what those are. If you feel like you are a candidate for that group, please feel free to reach out to me personally. If I don't reach out to you, I'm happy to include you if you feel like you're up for something like that, because I'm dead serious about growing my business. So that's that. And then Jessica will add the PDF of her notes with the SoundCloud. And then we'll go from there. I have a Zoom scheduled, and I tried to confirm with Logan because I know we were talking about Thursday, but he said Wednesday. So we have a Zoom scheduled with Logan for next Wednesday night at 9 p.m. where he's going to show us how to pull reports, how to navigate some things in the back office. So come with questions that you might have about that specific issue, not with questions about things that should be added to the back office. He doesn't have any control over that, but just what's currently in the back office and how to pull reports and things like that. And then I will set up another team training to talk more about onboarding and how we can kind of simplify that process and help our newbies get off to a better start. I'm learning a lot from the Diamonds in December. I will be honest, I did not watch that series. I watched the 12 Days of Diamonds from December, which another team did, but I did not watch the DDD one. So I'm working through that with a private chat group right now of people that are in that group. And it's awesome. So I encourage you to go through those videos. We learn from the leaders in this company. That's where I've learned everything, and I will never stop learning. Being a lifelong learner is so, so, so important. So let me know if you want to be in that chat group. If you're not in it, there's some people on this Zoom that are in the chat group. But happy to add you. We're just working through it together. Again, accountability, because I know that I could do it myself, but I won't. And that's why we create groups like that. So I encourage you to continue to do those with your downline as well, small chat groups surrounding specific issues. But I will put all this information up on our team page as soon as I have a moment, and I'll probably in the morning. So it was nice to see your faces. I hope everybody had a wonderful Christmas and a Happy New Year. Emily, I know you're on vacation, so thank you for showing up. I swear you always show up, which I love. Okay, guys, I will see you all soon.
Okay, bye.
Thanks, Jess.
Yep.
Yes.